Sadhakas, welcome. Let us be fully conscious, alert in our today's everything we do. First and foremost, please accept my gratitudes for giving this chance to study Shastras together, and my wishes and congratulations for you for being blessed by the divine to be on this divine path. Within whatever those great individualities are there, the sadhaka individuality, the sevaka individuality, the upasaka individuality, the shrota individuality, the shishya individuality, the bhakta individuality, this jignasu individuality, that moksha individuality, they are the ones which have to be nourished. They are all called as beautiful plants in our garden of the heart to give us the great flowers of the respective results. May be conscious of it, never compromise with them. Let us together invoke the grace of the divine in all these five forms of the Parambrahma Tattva, of the Ishvara Tattva, of the Sakala Devata Tattva, of all Guru Parampara, Guru Tattva, Guru Swaguru, and finally in the form of the entire Shastra Jnana of Shruti Smriti Purana Itihasa. Before we study our Upanishadic beautiful topic, the 2-3 minutes of discussion today is always, there are some things we want to do outside. We miss to do them, fail to do them for various reasons. We even want to conquest some things, conquer them, achieve them, own them, etc. That also becomes a dream. Out of 10, 20, 40, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, we may be able to conquer. And many things in our life we feel like experiencing is also. Somehow we miss them for various reasons. What we can do is the same three urges of doing, conquering, and experiencing. If we can focus for all these three things regarding our own inner things, then we are true, we are intelligent, and if not today, some other day, we are going to succeed in these three things. But more important is that is highly beautiful, highly rewarding. The inner doings, the inner conquerings, the inner experiences. If we are really studying the Shastras, truly, deeply, everything is inside only. The divinity and divinity getting molded or misinterpreted as the Upadhis. And from that only all the outer world, which is nowhere there other than Paramatma, is projected and deluding us. If we are serious, sincere, spiritual students of Shastras, this point must be very clear to us. If this point is clear, the consequences outside in the world, there is nothing for us to do or conquer or experience. If at all something is to be done, is within. If at all something is to be conquered, that is within. If at all something to be experienced, that is within. Today, a peculiar new thing we'll discuss for 2 minutes. What it is. In spirituality, from the day one, we are always told, don't have ego, don't have ego. This thing, such a truth, such a beautiful, required reality. Yet, if the speaker is not conscious and the listener also is not alert, it carries so much of what you call unwanted negative influence also. What it is, when we say don't have the ego, we take it as don't have the duty, don't have the responsibility, don't have the initiative. That is how spiritual seekers become, most of them, except 5-10%, become nikamma. Why? Because it is said, don't have the ego. But ego has a duty to do. Ego has a responsibility to do. Ego should have a very strong vision and should take initiative. Without ego, can we do something perfectly? Taking initiative. Without ego, can we really achieve? No. But what is said in spirituality? Drop the ego. Therefore, along with the ego, all these things we drop. The duties, the responsibilities, the goals and visions. Ego is said to be dropped, not the doings, not the achievings. But if the silent, very subtle, barik difference, if it is not caught, we just miss it. That's why you see in the world, those who are non-spiritual, they achieve great things. Though they are worldly, they achieve great things. Why? They have ego. And that ego wants to do something. That ego wants to conquer something. That ego wants to experience it. Therefore, when it is said don't have the ego is means the ownership, the claiming should not be there. It doesn't mean that the dutyness or the responsibility should not. In fact, from this explanation standpoint, a spiritual seeker is expected to have the highest ego in this definition, in which he should be so strongly egoistic for taking the duties, for taking the responsibilities, for taking the initiatives, for executing all the plans, for outer services or the inner achievements. See, you and I as a spiritual seekers, there's no ego at all in us. Which ego? यार कुछ करेंगे, कुछ दिखाएंगे, कुछ पाएंगे. Like a buffalo, we come and sit in the class. I'm talking about myself and do some blabbering and think something is achieved. There is no tapasya. There is no regularities in upasana. Some of us have not even started also. There is no commitment for taking the Lord's name regularly. There is no doing of homework of studying Shastra, doing contemplation. Why? Because there is no ego. This is not egolessness. This is all responsibilitylessness, therefore shamelessness. That though being blessed by the divinity for such a long time continuously by providing us so many opportunities, if we should still remain at the same place where we started few years back, it is not egolessness, it is shamelessness. Therefore, create or invoke that strong individuality. Ego, very strong. This ego is not to fight with anyone outside, not to defeat or conquer anybody. No, not for any outer goals of artha kama achievement. That is again samsara. But the same ego inside me to do all my inner sadhanas. Inner sadhanas by now are very clear to you and I who are studying yoga, Vedanta and all. Simple. Bring the mana to the ekagra bhumika. From the kshipta moda vikshipta. This may take some 10,000 lives, but this is the first thing to be done. Then the ekagra chitta is applied either in vritti nirodhatmaka yoga or in sharanagati rupi bhakti or in the contemplation on the truth through the panchakosha viveka or avasthatraya viveka or drugdarsha viveka, whatever. These are the inner sadhanas we have to do. In doing so, in establishing that sadhana being done, we have to conquest ourselves. And actually, every sadhana we should experience, not sadhya. साधना को अनुभव में लाओ कि मैं कर रहा हूं, हो रहा है, पक्का हो रहा है. Then the final siddhi will anyway come because we are on the path. How many times I am conscious that I am doing japa, and how many times consciously I am doing japa, and how many times I have conquered doing the japa, how many times I experienced that in me the divine name is so consciously, beautifully going on. These are the ones we have to do inside. And anything in the world outside should no more be attracting us, tempting us, distracting us for any reason. Time is less, the travel is so much inner. How can we afford to commit the same mistake as we were earlier, or as any samsarin who has never studied Shastras, who has never understood the goal to be reached is the self and is it within ourselves, nowhere outside. Our Indriyas should be shut for the mind to go out, for the world to come in. Our mind also should be introverted toward the goal, not at all going leaking through the senses into the outer world. This is what we have to do with full ego of taking it as a responsibility. Duty, bounden duty, urgent duty, immediately duty. Such a duty that to do that, everything I am sacrificing, including my bhojana, nidra, adi, even ready to spend the entire time of the life only for that. Such ones have done something, such ones have conquered the time and mind, such ones are nearing to experience. Some of them started early, done intensely, have experienced it in this very life. Others maybe next life or next life or next life. Isn't it? That's it. All others who are egoless fellows have no responsibility, no dutiness toward the sadhana. Therefore, in that tamo guna, in that very funny suggestions of the ego and mind of either some entertainments on the name of non-entertainments, and also in some small little level of satisfying sadhanas, not satisfactory. Satisfying means justifying. Huh? मैं जा रहा हूँ मंदिर. I am going to the class. I am listening. From the day one, every class. Some class, even Swami was not there, but I was there. In these type of funny things, we get lost. The essence we miss. Be alert, be conscious, and then let us just forget anything outer. And let us not even a moment forget the inner. The inner three things are the doings, what is to be done knowingly doing, and the doings are done so beautifully that we have conquered that doing and that we have experienced that doing. In Gita's language, it is Arurukshor Muner Yogam Karma Karanam Uchyate Yogarudasya Taseva Shamak Karanam Uchyate Yada Hinendriyartheshu Nakarmasvanusajyate Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi Yogarudhastaduch. You just see that jockey, I don't know whether I have said the right word, when he has to conquer the horse, experience the horse, how he does, how he runs along in the horse, matching his speed with the horses, yes, this doing is the one he does it. Many times the horse doesn't allow him to conquer or sit on it. After long time, long practice, one day he just mounts that horse's steed. That is, his doing resulted in conquering. Once he masters that conquering, now you see the experience of the riding on the horse, of taking it to wherever he wants to go without effort. It is of every modern machinery, fuel running vehicles, same thing. In the doing is trying to learn how the car is to drive, to be driven. The conquest is every aspect of the car driving is mastered. The experience is the joy of moving in that car to the desired destinations so beautifully. Don't we do that? Same are the things to be done for us by us in our spiritual life also. Let us do inner things more intensely with such a strong ego. The ego of Durvasa required for us inside. That if I don't do my sadhanas today, I will not eat food. I will not even sleep. Isn't it? And doing those sadhanas systematically, seriously, sincerely, well planned way, consciously, with the clarity of vision. Nothing sacrificed, nothing compromised with. And also, no more room given to any of the doings mechanically. Mechanical doing is done by the upadhis. I am not there. The opposite, the positive of that is what? Consciously doing, where I am there doing it. All the why machines have come because man doesn't want to do. So the machines are doing, he is becoming lazy fellow. That's called mechanism. That is the one which brings humanity both to laziness as well as distraction into bhoga adi. That's why in the houses where there are more machines, people are lazy, people are bhoga oriented. When there are no machines, they are so busy consciously in doing everything which they have to do, because of which they are not lazy, they are active, dynamic, they are not tamogini, or sorry, distracted, but they are towards the goal. In spirituality also, when we all know ourselves to be habitually overpowered by the mechanical way of doing the things, we become more bhogi than the non-spiritual seekers, more distracted, more even lazy. Therefore, doing consciously. Do little but consciously. Thereafter, conquering. The doing should be done so beautifully. We have conquered. Conquered is the highest word, which will come after many, many lives of practice, wherein any moment, at any situation around, if we have chosen, we are ready to do that thing, whatever the situation demands. The situation around there. Many others you say ना, अब गाना गाओ, they say no, no, अब गला ठीक नहीं, अब मूड ठीक नहीं है. They know the Ghana, but they are not ready every time. They need a mic, they need big audience to clap whether he sings well or not. तब जाकर मेरा मूड बनेगा. This is not a conquest. Conquest is बस में गाड़ी में जा रहे, somebody गुजारिश किया, अब शुरू कर जाना. That is conquer. Singing ka. In the same way, anytime we are able to do our japa, anytime we are able to remember our mantras and are able to focus contemplating on them. Whatever sadhanas we have to do them till we conquer them. And after conquering, experiencing the sadhanas, today we are talking more about. Then only the siddhi also will slowly be reached and experienced by us. Am I experiencing my contemplation? Am I conscious? Am I really contemplating or brooding or worrying? Isn't it? Brooding, worrying, ruminating person worries only about the words. In between, he goes all over the world. But consciously experiencing person of contemplation is so aware of whatever the mantra he has chosen for contemplation, with all its word meaning, sentence meaning, and the concept or the theme conveyed through that. To that level, when we experience sadhana, we experience sadhya. That sadhana experience comes when we conquer it. Conquering happens when we start doing it. The doing is with full ego, with full responsibility. करके दिखाऊंगा और किसी के लिए नहीं, मेरे लिए. As much the worldly people are egoistic in the world. That's what Gita mein. Saktaha karmani avidvamsaha yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvan tatha asaktaha chikishur loka sangra. There's no attachment. But as regards the doing is done, is there, the spiritual person should do the work more vigorously with more ego and more responsibility. Here the ego is an individuality which is full of commitment. नहीं है तो you we will be like a person whom we see every day in the mirror. The same old habits, old vasanas, old thought patterns, old activities, not even a slightest of the change, in spite of the so much of listening. That is why the Upanishads say, Nayamatma pravachanena labhyaha, na medhaya labhyaha, na bahuna shrutena api labhyaha. Isn't it? Seeing such people of zero transformation, instead of all this satsang, Guru Seva is the one which misguides others. It is bekar hai itna karke, he is also same like us. So we become the wrong publicity doers of the spirituality. That is the biggest negative outcome. More than that, in our own life, there will be no change or charm to celebrate that we were spiritual seekers, we are spiritual seekers, we are doing, we had conquered, we have conquering now, we have experienced, now we are. Everything, when we do the upasana of the Lord, do it. The upasana is done inside with the idols outside. Am I present with the bhavana that in the shaligrama, my Lord Vishnu beloved is there? Am I doing the abhisheka to him with so much of devotion? Am I really conquering that doing without the awareness of the whole world, even my own upadhis, whichever the upadhis are required for doing that, that alone, that upadhi alone is in my awareness. All other have transcended. You understood? That's called conquering. Then the same thing we experience. That to my Lord, right now I am doing Abhisheka. I am wiping him. I am applying, I am offering the vastras, applying Chandana Kunkuma. This is called the divine experience. At that level, the idol disappears, the Lord appears. He directly receives that puja in the same way. Any of these stotrams we chant. That stotra adhisthana devata becomes pratyaksha if we do that much ardently. The parayanam, the contemplation, and whatever things that are there in that stotra to be done when we do them. This is called as experience. This is called as conquest. This is called as doing. Nothing to do outside. Outer things क्या है? कितना भी करो, कितना भी conquer करो, experience करो. All are delusory. Therefore, they are all endful. Therefore, they all laugh at us because they have cheated us. है ना? किसी को हम धोखा देते हैं, चीट करते हैं, फिर हंसते हैं उसके ऊपर. देखो, तुम्हें मैंने उल्लू बनाया. Whole world makes us ullu out of us. Isn't it? When we try to do and gain and conquer something in the world. Where is it? Khatam ho gaya. That's very subtle thought, huh? Million times repeated subtle thought because of which the real meaning of that is never felt is the world, the sentence that the world is mithya. Without understanding, we just blabber it. What it means. Have you really understood and experienced what is the meaning of the world being with mithya? Isn't it? In that, the doings, the gainings, the experiencings, all of them are appearing only, but never really there. Even if it are there, very periphery level, very gross level. Like I am making some nice sweet dish, mano. I made it and I enjoyed. This is what we all do in the world outside. What is the reality in it? What is the great thing about it? That these are those things we have mixed up, something has come out, and we only poured all our love, liking, interest on that, and we have put it on our tongue for the few seconds. We enjoyed it, then we just feel that we have achieved something great. कितने टाइम के लिए? Just imagine, and this is what we are repeatedly doing every day. In this way, every day, every moment, doing the temporary things for the permanent happiness, never getting it, yet not recognizing it is called as delusion. And the doings are the mithya. If they are real, they should stay permanently. Which is that which is staying permanently? So this is the highest level of understanding the real sentence meaning, the meaning of sentence, the mithya. Then what is real? The infinite, pure inner self. Then we have to do all the things to experience Him. We have to conquer all the things doing to experience Him. We have to experience the sadhanas doing till we experience the truth or the goal. Our focus should become stronger and stronger in this. Shut the doors of Indriyas and Mana going into the world outside. Let our Mana be focused inside. No work of Indriyas other than when we listen from the masters or look at the book to study. Some Vyavahara to be done. That's it. More than that, I'm always busy in doing my inner things, in conquering my inner things, in my experiencing the inner beauties. Let us take this pledge for ourselves, and so highest level of ego we have to invoke within us, that like the very egoistic person, little bit he is insulted, how angry he becomes, little bit he gets failure somewhere, how disappointed he becomes, little bit insulted, or any, what do you say, thing which he wanted doesn't come, how much he just gets ashamed. More than that, you and I as spiritual seeker should become. Yesterday, today also little we'll see the tone behind Bhagwan Adi Shankara saying in the Vishnu Bhujanga Prayata is that only. The Vardhakya Sthiti, what was explained. And before that, I have to leave all of that ha custom and all that. The tone, the purpose of saying that only. Ki, being a spiritual seeker, instead of meditating on you, O Lord, I got lost in all this Sutakalatra, and while doing so, the age has become so old that now the whole body is not at all cooperating with me. In fact, he writes it in the future tense. Thank God, only to tell to his disciples that आगे ऐसा होने वाला है, वो होने से पहले ही तुम जो दोनों काम करना है करो. What are the two things always in spirituality? Detach from all those from which we have to detach, and attach to that for which we have to attach. That's it. And what it is, everyone understands it. It's a beautiful thing that is in the Vishnu Bhujanga Prayata Stotram. So let us invoke the ego. Let us no more be Besharam of neither doing anything, nor conquering anything, nor experiencing anything. People expect or look up to us as spiritual seekers. So we should show to them by doing. Puja Gurudev has done like that, Lord Krishna has done like that, all the saints and sages have done like that. The great Mahatmas, the modern Mahatmas like Vivekananda, all of them. Today is his birthday. So let us that way not misunderstand the meaning of egolessness is equal to irresponsibility, laziness, distraction, bhoga. I don't have ego, therefore I can't do sadhana. Wow, sharam. Om, 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 Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhetamastu, Ma Vidvishavahai, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः. ओम निधये सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. ओम येरिमे गुरुभिः पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याताः सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्. ॐ शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ सुकृते धिकृते बहुधा भवतो भविता समदर्शनलालसता अतिदीनमिमं परिपालय मां भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम्। ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। परब्रह्मणे श्रुतिमात्रे समस्त ब्रह्म विद्याचार्येभ्यो ऋषिभ्यो मुनिभ्यो गुरुभ्यो देवताभ्यो नमः। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ऐतरेय उपनिषदः आचार्येभ्यो नमः। संकल्पः तेषां सर्वेषां कृपया अस्मिन् क्षणे एव उपनिषदुक्त ब्रह्मात्मैक्यबोध सनातनधर्मस्य विश्वव्याप्ति विश्व आध्यात्मिक प्रगति एकता शांति पुरोवृद्धि अस्मिन् कर्मणि निष्ठित अस्माकं सह सर्वेषां नित्यनिरन्तर दिग्विजयवाप्ति अर्थम अनेक शास्त्राणाम् अध्ययन साधना प्रयत्न मध्ये ऋग्वेदांतर्गत ऐतरेयोपनिषदः पारायणम् आद्य शंकर भाष्य समेत अध्ययनं साधना प्रयत्नं सिद्ध्यर्थं वयं सर्वे करिष्यामहे। ओम मनस्तापतमः शान्त्यै यस्य पादनखच्चटा शरदिन्दुनिभाभाति तं वन्दे नीलचिन्मणिम्। ओमत श्री ऋग्वेदांतर्गत ऐतरेयोपनिषद शांति मंत्र। ओम वांग मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्म एधि वेदस्य म आणीस्तः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवदो तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम्। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम अथ पारायणं द्वितीयोऽध्यायः। ओम पुरुषे हवा अयमादितो गर्भो भवते यदेतत् रेतः तदेतत् सर्वेभ्यः अंगेभ्यः तेजः सम्भूतम् आत्मनि एव आत्मानं बिभर्ति तत् यदा स्त्रियां सिञ्चति अथ एनत् जनयति तद् अस्य प्रथमं जन्म तत् स्त्रिया आत्मभूयं गच्छति यथा स्वम् अंगं तथा तस्मात् एनां न हिनस्ति सा अस्य एतम् आत्मानम् अत्र गतं भावयति सा भावयित्री भावयितव्या भवति तं स्त्री गर्भं बिभर्ति सः अग्रे एव कुमारं जन्मनः अग्रे अधिभावयति सः यत् कुमारं जन्मनः अग्रे अधिभावयति आत्मानम् एव तद्भावयति येषां लोकानां सन्तत्या एवं सन्तता हि इमे लोकाः तद् अस्य द्वितीयं जन्म सः अस्य अयमात्मा पुण्येभ्यः कर्मभ्यः प्रतिधीयते अथ अस्य अयम् इतर आत्मा कृतकृत्यो वयोगतः प्रएति सः इतः प्रयन् एव पुनः जायते तदस्य तृतीयं जन्म तद् उक्तं ऋषिणा गर्भेऽनुसन् अन्वेषाम् अवेदम् अहं देवानां जनिमानि विश्वा शतं मा पुर आयसीः अरक्षन् अधः शेनः जवसा निरदीयम् इति गर्भे एव एतत् शयानः वामदेवः एवमुवाच स एवं विद्वान् अस्मात् शरीरभेदात् ऊर्ध्वमुत्क्रम्य अमुष्मिन् स्वर्गे लोके सर्वान् कामान् आप्त्वा समभवत् समभवतु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Let us do the third chapter, second mantra, Parayanam. Yadetad hrudayam manah cha etatu sangnyanam ajnanam vijnanam prajnanam medha drushtihi dhrutihi matihi manisha jyotihi smrutihi sankalpaha kratuhu asuhu kamaha vashah iti सर्वाणि एव एतानि प्रज्ञानस्य नामधेयानि भवन्ति. Beautiful, na? See, the first line is the master stroke. What is it? Yadi etat hrudayam etat manaha. Hrudayam here is pure conscious self. That alone is mind. That mind alone getting modified into so many modified vrittis for its functional purpose. Sangnyanam, Ajnanam, Ityadi, Ityadi. What we have to understand by reversing it is Sarvani eva etani prajnanasya namadeyani bhavanti. The trick of the Vedanta is here only. Very careful. What is it? Consciousness alone becomes the mind. Mind alone becomes all the vritti modifications, as it is said here. Same mind alone becomes indriyas to see the world. Mind becomes the indriyas and sees the world. That topic is done, so we just leave it there. We discuss on this topic only. Then, in this trio of consciousness becoming mind becoming the all the modified vrittis. In that, are the vrittis the Atman self? We take it so. That is why when the modifications of vrittis, mind of any time comes, vritti, we feel we are that. To that extent, we got identified with that anatma called as the vrittis. See how clear what we studied in all our prakarana granthas, other Upanishads, becoming more crystal clear here. Then is that the mana the Atman? Mana is objectified self, which gets dichotomized as drashta drishyam. This drashta, the jiva now, gets lost in identified with the drishya, puts all what is happening on drishya on his own head and keeps on suffering. That whole thing is called jiva bhava, which is neither real nor necessary. But because the importance is given, because of avidya, it is sustaining and it is appearing to be real, and we are really suffering because of it. These rishis have understood. The Adunatana Viragins, the Momokshus and Jignasus. Identifying with the wrong or not self was the cause of all dukkha. Therefore, which is the self having? Identified with which there is no dukkha at all. In that inquiry, they transcended the Shabda Sparsha Rupasagandha, they transcended the Annamaya Kosha Sharira, they transcended the Indriyas, now they are transcending the Mano. In trying to do so, very delicately, what is done? All emotional experiences are in the mind. The mind is in the pure consciousness. Conscious self is the real self. The same consciousness unaware, that unawareness called avidya, becomes the bija, becomes the material, becomes the matter for the expression called as mind, in which there is drashta drishya bheda, where the drashta goes on suffering with the drishya, by identifying with the drishya. Actually, neither the drishya is there, nor the drashta is there, nor the womb from where they are born, the mind is there. What is there is the pure consciousness. That is why any moment we become aware of the self, where is the whole mind and the world? The moment we are not aware of the self, Immediately is not the mind coming into manifestation with all its modifications, itself having an experiencer inside it. Like I am experiencing my anger. So where is anger? In the mind. The experiencer of the anger, where is he? In the mind. Why is he experiencing? Identifying with that anger aspect of the mind. Where are these two? In the consciousness. But in the pure consciousness's awareness, are these two are there? They are not there. Therefore, if I am not aware of my consciousness, where am I? At the level of the mind. Living life at the level of mind is samsara. Obviously, consequently, subsequently, mind one side becomes all emotional, second becomes drashta drishya, third itself become indriyas, fourth it sees the world and then gets suffered. This is what the main essential thought that is conveyed in this second mantra. So that is why the beginning itself was ki yad etat hrudayam manah cha etat. Therefore, all emotional modifications, experiences are nothing but pure conscious self only. But pure conscious self expressed through the mind at the emotional level is not the way of being continuously happy or blissful. A wrong reverse example I tell you. Reverse example, ulta wala. Ki all pots are mud only, but with the mud you cannot collect the water. Ulta example. All pots are mud only. Even then, with mud you can't collect water. You have to mold the mud into the pot. Then only you can use that mud as a pot for water. A ulta example. In the same way, all the emotions are nothing but pure consciousness. But consciousness through the mind appearing as emotions is not the way for liberation because they are going on changing. They are depending on so many things. They are prompting us to do some karma, punya or papa, of which we are forced to experience the results. इसलिए देखो सब भगवान ही है फिर भी यू हैव टू डिस्कवर दैट भगवान इन आवर ओन हार्ट फर्स्ट thereafter सब व्यवहार चलता रहेगा but you have to focus on the substratum which is supporting without itself going through any modification. Therefore, the emotions Atma, the Mana Atma, the Shuddha Atma. So, three Atmas are there for us to identify. Which Atma identification gives moksha? That was their inquiry, our inquiry, and fully the choice is left to us every time. Earlier, because of not studying Shastras, not listening from the Gurus, all these things, for whatever the other reasons, we were only identifying with the mana and its modifications. Now we know where are we going wrong. Now we know what is the right thing to be done. Let us do it. Of identifying with that witnessing consciousness, not with the mind and modifications. It is to be initiated, started. Till we do it, we conquer it, we experience it. हो गया पूरा what to do is understood now. Keep on doing, keep on. Let it take 1 day, 1 year, 1 decade, 1 life, 10 lives. We don't know. Okay. In this regard, wherein Indriyas alone is the mana alone is the Hridayam. Hridayam means the real Purusha, the Prajnanam. The quotations were given. Vichitra, each quotation has the different way to convey that all these three are Atman, yet the pure conscious Atman identity is the real main one, which gives moksha from giving reality to these and getting lost in it. Having experienced that to be real self, then in these things as we exhaustively yesterday discussed, in these things we can play without creating samsara. Like Mahatmas, when they are in the world, everything what we do, same things they do. They also shout, they also become angry. When the food is given, they also eat. When they have a fever, they also go to doctor, they take medicine, they talk politics, they talk all nonsense, other things we talk as if. But still, what do you mean by they are not bound? What do we mean by we are bound? You know, the thing is, they are basically established in the real self. Okay. After that, they are only like the Indrajala, they are playing in these things, knowing them to be unreal, therefore, not giving any reality status to them. So, Vyavahara is happening, but the intellectual reality given, the emotional attachments done, these two diseases are not there in them. Because the reality they are experiencing all the time. I am Brahman. In me, the pure Brahman, these upadhis are superimposed for some play. Even after knowing it as a rope, one can just put it as a snake and play with others and try frighten them. It will not bind me because I know it is a rope, not a snake. Like the children do with the rubber वाले जो दुकान में बिकते हैं, they bring and अपने दादा दादी नाना ने उनको डराते हो ये वो फेंक के. When they get frightened, they enjoy. How they frightened and these people did not get. This fellow knows the reality that it is not a real chipkal. It looks like. So too the world looks like real, but not so. Reality is Paramatma, which I'm already experiencing. It's a rubber. I know, I have experienced it. Isn't it? He touched it, he knew it, it was rubber. So the reality known, the projected typically will not bind him. So he will play with it. So the realized saint experiences essential self, knows everything is mithya, and yet plays in it for no purpose. There's no ego which is incomplete in him to have a purpose, to have a desire. No. Again, this is another truth. To live life, there is no need of any other outer purpose. Allowing the divinity, the life to express itself is the purpose. At the highest level. अब हमारा purpose है. You have to be highly egoistic to do the conquer and experience. But theoretically, we are understanding. In those quotations, we have seen. One was what? Tathacha Kaushitaki Nam. What was the Kaushitaki? Upanishad's quotation. Pragnaya vacham samaruhya vacha sarvani namani apnoti. Means the self. Himself becomes prajna, the antakarana. That antakarana itself becoming vani. It goes on speaking. So to pragnaya. Here prajna is pure self becoming the mind. That pragnaya chakshu samaruhya. I know, mounting the seed of the chakshu, having become chakshurindriya, chakshusha sarvani rupani apnot. Very conscious. Dheere bano. Like, I want to ride the cycle. So to ride the cycle, I have to become the rider of the cycle. Now, don't I become in my intellectual concept that I am a rider of cycle? Will not I bring that rider cycle to the mind level of an emotion chalo chalate hai? Then such one is conveyed to the indriyas, whichever are required, or that concept or that feeling in the mind only manifests as various indriyas which are required in riding that cycle. The karmendriya of the legs to ride the pedals, karmendriya of the hands to hold the sand handle, isn't it? Then the Jnanendriya of the eyes to see the road. Till that time of I didn't want to become cycle rider. Where were all these? The whole set of things were unmanifest in me only as the pure conscious self. Then from that only the concept, then that the emotion, mind's idea or planning, then the execution through indriyas. This is what again every day I am saying, but we have not come to the topic. When we study the pratyahara, the fifth of the yoga angas, as a falashruti, this is what will be told to us. Absolutely matching topic. So the Purusha only becoming prajna, riding on vacha, he speaks words. Purusha only becoming prajna becomes the eyes, starts seeing the objects. So too, etc. etc. This is what Kaushitaki Upanishad told us. Continue. Second one is what? Ki ityadi, is तरह से lot of quotes in so many Upanishads are there. Now in the Vajasneyaka Upanishad. Vajasneyaka is Brahadaranyaka Upanishad. In that also what is said? Manasahi eva pashyati, manasa shrunoti, hrudayena hi rupani janati. See that completeness of the sentence. Shrunoti kaha. Shrunoti is whose work? Of the ears. कान सुनता है. But what is it? Manasa shrunoti. When it is said manasa shrunoti, where are the ears gone? Without which we can't listen. So to say that mana only having become ear, it is listening. By saying manasa shrunoti, the ear is merged in the mind. Means in the understanding. Actually तो ear कान required है सुनने को. But in dream, mind says sunta hai, even the gross indriya is not required. Thank God that dream experiences are there to prove to us that all indriyas are in the mind. Do you understood? Manasa eva shrunoti. Second thing is what? Manasa eva pashyati. अरे पश्यति तो आंख से करते हो ना. बट माय डियर, आंख से सुन देखते हैं, आई नो आई सी द आई, बट कैन आई सी विदाउट द माइंड बिहाइंड? Therefore, who is the real seer? The mind only. But mind directly can't see the outer gross world. It has to dress up itself in the form of the indriya called as the eye, the chakshu. Now the interesting thing is what? Manasa shrunoti or pashyati kaha. But what it means? Man ke dwara, sorry, with the mind he is seeing. Who is seeing? A question comes, na? The Atman alone. So the Atman alone is becoming mind. The mind alone is becoming Indriya. Indriya is seeing the outer world. The outer world also from other calculation is same Paramatma. Interesting. And in the flow of the same sentence, the third sentence is giving us more or complete clarity. Two things he says, Manasa Pashyati, Manasa Shrunoti. But when the third thing has to be said, he says, Hrudayena hi Rupani Janat. All the forms he knows by his own heart. Here Hridaya is pure conscious self. Therefore, Rupani to Janati by the Antakarana. Because Antakarana ka dharma hai Janana. Knowing is the job of the Antakarana. Buddhi ityadi. So, but he says Hridayena Janati. Hridayena means with the self. Means what? Self alone is becoming the Antakarana to know the world through senses. By this, what is done? The self, Antakarana, Indriyas are one thing only, expressing at different gradations necessary for the outer perception of the world, which is a game for the Lord, which is a sadhana for us, if not known, which is a samsara for us. भगवान के लिए गेम है, साधकों के लिए साधना है. ये दोनों जिनको नहीं है, for them the world is samsara. Where the specialized ego comes identifying with these upadhis, forgetting that he is a self who himself is detached from all of them, though functioning through them. And that attachment always of threefold. Aham, me, mama, mine, mahyam, for me. Very clear about it. These are the quotations. Now, ityadi, tasmat. Now, see that concluding important sentence. What is it? Tasmat hrudaya mano vachyasya. See, hrudaya means pure self. Because hrudaya means Paramatma. Mano, the antakarana. Vacha means all indriyas. Hrudaya mano vachyasya sarva upalabdhi karatvam prasiddham. Through all these quotations, prasiddham, it is well known that with the set of these three, Hridaya, Manovacha, Sarva Upalabdhi, every of the Shabdas, Varsha, Rupana, Sagandha, Ityadi are obtained. Now at the totality level also same thing. Tadatmakaha cha pranaha. Isn't it? Here prana is Hiranyagarbha, the total. तदात्मकः च प्राण, ये सब आत्मा के रूप में किसको रखते हैं? प्राण, द टोटलिटी. What's happening at the total level alone happening at the micro individual level. What is that? Yo vai pranaha sa prajna, ya vai prajna sa pranaha. देखो, this is again in Kaushitaki Upanishad. Yo vai pranaha sa prajna and ya vai prajna sa pranaha. So the Hiranyagarbha is called here a prana. He alone is got prajna, means his total prajnatva, sarvajnatva. And where the sarvajnatva is there, he alone is Hiranyagarbha. Out of that Hiranyagarbha's sarvajnatva, you and I, given a little capacitated antakarana, we are becoming the jnanis of small things. That is why we are called Alpagnya. But he is Sarvagna. Okay. So that Hiranyagarbha at the total level is Jiva in me. His prajna of Sarvajnatva at my level is, the prajna is Alpagnatva. But both of them are expressions of the absolute reality. Okay. Earlier, again he says, Karana samhati rupa cha pranaha iti avochama prana samvadat adav. In the beginning only, when the prana samvada discussion about prana done in the first chapter only, second khanda, what did he said? Ki karana samhati rupa cha pranaha. Ki the prana or the samashti prana or the Hiranyagarbha is nothing but the assemblage of all the karanas at totality level. This was discussed earlier only. Tasmat यत् पद्यां प्रापद्यत तद् ब्रह्म तद् उपलब्धिः उपलब्धिकरणत्वेन गुणभूतत्वात् नैव तद्वस्तु ब्रह्म उपास्य आत्मा भवितुमर्हति पारिशेष्यात् यस्य उपलब्धि उपलब्ध्यर्थ एतस्य हृदयस्य मनोरूपस्य करणस्य वृत्तेः वक्ष्यमाणाः स उपलब्धि उपास्य आत्मा न अस्माकं भवितुमर्हति इति निश्चयं कृतवन्तः. A beautiful, important conclusion, Nishchaya, what they came to, these Adunatana Jignasis, that even at the individual level, the Jiva who is perceiving all of them, the total level, the Prana, Hiranyagarbha, perceiving the totality, they cannot be the Atman for us Upasana. Then, for whom these two are working, because of whom these two are working, to whom they are reporting, in whose presence they are happening, he is our Atman. To that level of clarity they came. What it is, little deeply we have to study tomorrow. After that, what is the meaning of that संज्ञानम विज्ञानम अज्ञानम, उसका हमको मीनिंग बताएंगे. Slowly only we proceed, trying to understand maximum the bhashya as well as the mantra, thus enhance our clarity of understanding regarding the position of reality and position of everything else. After that understanding, with the help of the understanding given conviction, from the unreal to the real, we just travel in our identity. Reality को reality देना, unreal को unreal देना is the moksha. Unreal taken as real, real is totally forgotten, is a bondage because of this thing called as delusion and ignorance. Om, 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 Om. मुच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो परमर्षिभ्यो परब्रह्मणे श्रुतिमात्रे तत्सत् ब्रह्मार्पणमस्तु. Thank you. Class is 7:30 for few days.